I stand in the middle of my garage, my heels clicking softly against the polished concrete floor. The air smells like leather, motor oil, and the faint sweetness of last night's victory ride. Row after row of bikes glint under the ceiling lights. Vintage cruisers, glossy sport models, even the first custom piece I ever built. My fingers trail along the chrome handlebar of my favorite one, a deep emerald Harley with my initials etched on the gas tank. Then my phone buzzes. The sound slices through the quiet like a blade, and I already know who it is before I look.
Mom.
I stare at the screen for a second too long. She hasn't texted me in almost 3 years. Not since that fight. Not since they told me I was being reckless, that bikes were a waste of time, that they were selling mine whether I liked it or not. I take a breath, steady but sharp. It's ironic. I built all this without them, and now they're the ones reaching out. The message is short.
We need to talk.
I can feel something shift inside me. This isn't just a text. This is a door creaking open. To memories I buried, to the girl I used to be, and to the fire that got me here. I was 17 the day it happened, the day they sold my bike. It was a cherry red Honda, nothing fancy, just a second-hand deal I'd spent 2 summers saving for. Babysitting, washing cars, late-night shifts at the diner, every dollar went into that bike. It wasn't just transportation. It was freedom, independence, the first thing in my life that was completely mine. I still remember running my hand over its chipped paint, tying a little navy ribbon to the handlebar, because I thought it looked lucky. I used to ride with my hair down, feeling the wind whip through it, imagining I was unstoppable. Until the morning I came home from school and saw the empty space in the driveway. "Where's my bike?" I demanded, standing in the kitchen doorway. Dad didn't even look up from his coffee. "We sold it. It was too dangerous. You don't need it." Mom's voice was softer, but no less final. "Sweetheart, you're too young for this obsession. It's not practical." The words hit harder than I expected. My throat closed up, my hands shook so badly I had to grip the counter to steady myself. They didn't just sell my bike. They sold my choice. My voice. That night, I cried into my pillow until it was damp, anger burning hotter with every tear. The next day, I went to see Mr. Lawson, the old mechanic who ran the corner shop. He'd been teaching me little tricks about engines since I was 15. He saw my face and didn't ask questions. "They took it from you, huh?" he said, wiping his hands on a rag. I nodded, biting the inside of my cheek. He crouched down until we were eye level. "Then you build something better. 10 times better. You let this be the last thing anyone ever takes from you." I swallowed hard, letting his words sink in. That was the moment I made myself a promise. I wasn't going to let anyone decide my life for me again. And I wasn't just going to get one bike back. I was going to earn enough to fill an entire room with them. The next few years were brutal and beautiful. I started small, doing whatever I could. Mr. Lawson let me sweep floors in his shop after school. At first, I just listened. The clink of wrenches, the hiss of air compressors, the smell of grease and gasoline soaking into my clothes. Then he started teaching me, really teaching me, how to change a carburetor, fix a clutch, rewire a headlight. I saved every paycheck, every tip from the diner, every dollar I could scrape together. My hands were always scraped, my nails always chipped, but I didn't care. There was something deeply satisfying about coming home with grease on my face and money in my pocket, proof that I was building something no one could take from me. My first win was a beat-up Yamaha I bought for $300. It barely ran, but I poured my soul into restoring it. When I sold it for $1,200, I cried, not because of the money, but because I'd turned my pain into something real, something powerful. By 19, I had a little side business fixing bikes out of Mr. Lawson's backlot. Word spread. Local riders started coming to me for repairs, then custom builds. I spent long nights under flickering fluorescent lights, working until my shoulders ached and my eyes blurred. There were moments of doubt. Nights I'd stare at my bank balance and wonder if I was insane. Mornings I'd hear my parents' voices in my head telling me I'd fail. But every small win silenced them a little more. When Mr. Lawson retired, he surprised me by handing me the keys to his shop. "You've earned this, kid," he said. I think that was the first time I truly believed in myself. I rebranded the shop under my own name, Madison Motors. From there, things moved fast. I learned to negotiate with suppliers, to design my own custom builds, to post sleek photos online that went viral among bike lovers. Soon I had clients driving in from other states just to buy from me. And through it all, I kept quiet. My parents thought I was finding myself, maybe barely scraping by. I posted vague social media updates, just enough to keep them guessing. I didn't want them to see anything until it was undeniable. By 24, I wasn't just fixing bikes. I was running a profitable business, had 3 employees, and was shipping custom builds nationwide. But I still remembered that empty driveway, that hollow ache in my chest the day they sold my bike. And I was still waiting for the day they would come back into my life, and I could show them who I'd become. The text led to a phone call. The phone call led to a visit. I told them to meet me at the shop, a choice that felt both petty and poetic. When their car pulled up, I caught my reflection in the glass of the showroom window. Black blazer, crisp white blouse, boots polished to a mirror shine. My hair was down, like it used to be when I rode as a teenager, but this time it wasn't rebellion. It was confidence. I watched them step out of the car, hesitating as they looked up at the sleek silver sign over the door. Madison Motors. My name. My legacy. Madison. Mom's voice was careful, almost shy. Come in, I said. My tone was even, but I could feel my heart pounding in my chest. The moment they crossed the threshold, I saw it, the look on their faces. Their eyes darted over the polished concrete floor, the rows of shining bikes, the framed magazine covers on the wall featuring me and my builds. My first national feature hung in the center like a crown jewel, the woman reinventing the American custom bike scene. Dad was the first to speak. This is yours. All of it. My voice didn't waver. I built this from the ground up. They walked slowly, almost reverently, past the custom Harleys, the restored classics, the design sketches framed like art. Mom ran her fingers over a metallic blue Ducati, like she was afraid it might bite. This is incredible, she whispered. I let them take it all in, let the silence hang heavy. I wanted them to feel it. The weight of every hour I worked, every dollar I saved, every tear I shed in secret. Finally, I spoke. Do you remember the day you sold my bike? Dad winced. Mom closed her eyes briefly. You told me I didn't need it, that it was reckless, that I was wasting my time. I stepped closer, gesturing to the showroom around us. This is what that waste of time became. Neither of them spoke. For once, they had nothing to say. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. The space around us said it all. The smell of motor oil and leather, the shine of polished chrome, the sound of my employees laughing in the back as they worked. I didn't build this to spite you, I said softly. But every time I wanted to give up, I remembered that empty driveway. I remembered how it felt to have something I loved taken away. And I swore I'd never let anyone have that power over me again. Mom's eyes were glassy now. Dad cleared his throat but didn't meet my gaze. You've done well, he said finally, voice low. I nodded once. I know. The words weren't arrogant, they were fact. For a long moment, the 3 of us just stood there, surrounded by the sound of my success humming in the background, compressors kicking on, tools clinking, the faint sound of a bike engine starting in the workshop. And for the first time, I didn't feel like their little girl. I felt like the woman I had fought to become. I gestured for them to sit at the small lounge area near the front, leather chairs, a coffee table stacked with motorcycle magazines, and a framed photo of me and Mr. Lawson on opening day. I'm not angry anymore, I began, my voice calm but firm. But I won't pretend what happened didn't change me. Mom twisted her hands in her lap. Dad sat stiffly, jaw set. You came here because you need something, I continued. You wouldn't have reached out after 3 years otherwise. So tell me why now. Mom's voice cracked as she spoke. We made some bad investments. The house might go into foreclosure. We didn't know where else to turn. I let the words sink in. Old me would have felt vindicated. New me just felt steady. I can help, I said finally. I saw their shoulders sag in relief, but I held up a hand before they could thank me. But there are conditions. Dad frowned. Conditions? Yes. I leaned forward, resting my elbows on my knees. If I do this, things change. First, you respect what I've built. No more dismissing my work as a phase or a hobby. This is my life's work, and it deserves your respect. They nodded quickly. Second, you start over, too. You stop making choices out of fear and start building something you actually care about. Whether that means a smaller house, new jobs, I don't care, but it has to be yours. No more gambling security on get-rich-quick schemes. Dad's jaw softened a little. And third, you start showing up. Not just for me, but for yourselves. Come to my next launch event, volunteer with me when we donate bikes to underprivileged teens. Learn what I do, what I love. Be part of it. Mom's eyes filled with tears. We can do that, she whispered. I believed her, but I wasn't done. And one more thing, I said, my tone gentler now. I want you to help me restore an old bike. Not for me, for a girl like I used to be. Someone who just needs one chance. For the first time that afternoon, Dad smiled faintly. I think we can manage that. I nodded, feeling the weight in my chest finally start to lift. This wasn't revenge. This wasn't payback. This was a reset, and I was the one writing the rules this time. The next few weeks felt strange but good. My parents came back to the shop, this time without hesitation. Dad rolled up his sleeves and actually got his hands dirty, helping me strip down an old Triumph frame. Mom brought sandwiches for the crew and sat in the corner flipping through design sketches, asking me about each one. It was awkward at first, but it was real. They weren't just apologizing with words, they were showing up exactly like I'd asked. One night, long after the shop closed, I stood alone by that same Triumph we were restoring together. My fingers traced the metal, still rough and unpainted, but full of potential. Just like me, once upon a time. In the quiet, I heard Mr. Lawson's words echo back to me. You build something better. 10 times better. I smiled. He'd been right. I didn't just build one thing better. I built an empire. And now I was helping my parents build themselves back up too. The foreclosure never happened. I helped them restructure their finances under my terms, and for the first time they let me lead without fighting me. The day we finally rolled that restored Triumph onto the showroom floor, Mom wiped away a tear. It's beautiful, she said softly. So is this, I replied, gesturing not just to the bike, but to all of it, the shop, my team, my parents standing beside me. I thought back to that empty driveway, to the girl crying into her pillow, to the fire that started that night. They sold my first bike, I said quietly, almost to myself. But they didn't know they were selling me the fire to build an entire collection. And for the first time, I didn't feel the ache of loss anymore. I felt gratitude.
Strength.
Wholeness. Because I hadn't just gotten my bike back. I'd gotten my life back.